Hi there, welcome to week 7. This is always quite a process making these videos. I know they look like I just sit down and talk, and sometimes that's what I do, but it's actually quite a bit of process going in behind it because I have all these ideas and thoughts and trying to decide what to communicate to you. So this is week 7 of our Cultivating Online Learning Communities class, and this is a workshop week. And so there's a couple of projects that are due at the end of the week, depending on how you're delivering them. So there's the interactive lesson, and then there's the final project. So just to clarify again, the interactive lesson is just one single thing that you might do. And the final project is more like a larger unit. And so the example I like to give is I teach a unit on reliable sources, like using reliable sources, information sources. And within that unit, I have lots of different lessons. And one of the lessons is a lesson on fake news, how to identify it, all these other things. So that's a lesson. So a lesson is a smaller piece. And so the lesson that you create can become part of the final project if you want. Like that's what I would do. I'm all into double dipping on stuff. So those are both due on Sunday, unless you're giving the lesson synchronously. And then there's some times on the calendar to sign up for. So we've talked about all that before, so I'm not going to go into too much detail other than let me do a screen share just so that you're clear where to go to submit these things. So here's our class. And if you go to modules, that's probably the quickest way to go. And module P lists all the projects, right? So this research presentation, that's what a bunch of people turned in last night. Some people did and some people didn't. So it's okay if it's late. I keep getting a lot of messages. It's okay if it's late. And if you got the email that I sent last night, oh my goodness. Like even if you reread things 25 times and hit send, that's when you find the typos. And boy, did I make a doozy typo in one of those messages last night. So hopefully nobody gets offended. And just know that I did my best. I actually read it, and I had like 3 people message me afterwards and ask me, did you really mean that? So if you didn't read the message, you should go read the message. Anyhow, I'm sure you'll get what I mean. The point is if you need more time, that's okay. Like we're running on a little bit of a timeline, but keep in mind that these classes are a little bit open-ended and repeatable. And they're pass fail, for most people. And so if you go through it and you don't quite finish, you can always loop back around and take another section of it when you have more time, like in the summer or next fall. Anyhow, but we'll do the best we can do. We'll get as much done as we can get done. And my goal is that you walk out of this class with a couple of tangible things that you can actually do. And I'm going to share some of those with you at the end of this video that your classmates have turned in. Some of our try it exercises. They're so much fun. Anyhow, come back here to submit your interactive lesson, and then come back here to submit your final project. Right now, we do have final project peer reviews, but I'm going to play that one by ear again a little bit. I really like the peer review process, but I don't want to stress people out. And so anyhow, we'll play that by ear. I'll let you know at the end of the week. We'll see how many. The peer review process is contingent on people turning it in. So if we get enough people to submit it by Sunday night, then we can do peer reviews. Otherwise, it's a whole other process. Anyhow, so you're just going to go to the interactive lesson and the final project, and that's where you'll submit your links. A bunch of people have messaged me, and I've gotten Canvas shell set up for them because that was part of the email yesterday. If you still need a Canvas shell, a blank one, please let me know ASAP so we can get that set up. Academic Technology is phenomenal. They are like switching those suckers on like nobody's business. They're getting it done quick. An alternative, they said that you could maybe import something from Canvas Commons, like grab a class from there, just delete it all or turn it all off and make your own module, if you just needed a shell. But they're making them pretty quickly, but you have to let me know as soon as possible. So what else do I want to talk to you about? That's the nuts and bolts, like workshop week. We've got some Zoom calls coming up, so look at the calendar, find appointments, sign up for a couple of Zoom calls. I have a super busy week this week with Zoom calls with lots of other things. I tried to squeeze in a couple of workshop times, and I don't know if it'll work for everybody. So if you still want to meet with me and that doesn't work, one of those times don't work for you, please contact me as soon as possible, and let's like schedule in 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it takes. Okay, well, I'm here to help you get this figured out. So let's do it. All right. So what do I want to show you next? I'm really super excited about this part, to be honest with you. I gave you, what was it, 3 weeks ago, a page called the Try It Challenges. And I challenged you to try a couple of things to build community. And then I think it was last week, I said, okay, let's get some of these submitted and turned in. And people have been turning them into Discord. And what I'm going to do is 2 different things. I'm going to show you where I'm getting these from, because I'm just going to give you a snippet of a bunch of these. All right. But if you want to read the whole story on these different stories that have been shared, jump over to Discord and look for the Cultivating Community channel. And honestly, like every day, somebody's submitting something new. So it's been a lot of fun. And so this is where I'm going to pull some of the stories from. But there's just like, just all kinds of good stuff, all kinds of good stuff. And I really appreciate people sharing and submitting. And I'll be contacting actually people that put stuff here, because I have a question for you, because I'm doing a workshop tomorrow for the college. And so I want to know if I can use the slides I'm about to show, if you're okay with me showing that to everyone. Right now, this is just for our class. So let me do this. I'm going to do a new share. I'm going to pull up these slides and go through these. Should only take a few minutes. I'm trying to keep this a little on the short side, but I was just so excited about some of these stories. One of the comments that I get a lot is, what's the thing I can do to build community? Like, what's the big thing? What's the one big thing? And there's not a big thing. I keep saying community is built in the little connections that you make. And part of the idea with those try-its is there's lots of ways to make those little connections. I started my spring classes. We're just starting week 3. So like 2 weeks ago, I started my spring classes, and I'm just trying stuff. I'm taking the same challenge. So I'll show you 1 or 2 things I did, but I'm going to show you mostly what everybody else did. So I broke these into 4 categories. And the first one is you have to create the space. So you have to be intentional about putting together space, because if you don't, where are they going to go? Like, the students only can occupy the spaces that you create for them in your class, right? So we had several people go out on a limb and start their own Discord servers. Oh my gosh, I never actually thought that would happen, but I'm super excited that it did. And people are trying different things. And this was one of the first messages that I got on this from Marceline. She was super, super excited. And like I said, I'm just grabbing snippets out of these longer posts. So you need to go read them all on the Cultivating Community channel. But she started this Discord server, did a couple of things, and then a student said this. I'm just going to throw this out there. This feels like the strongest sense of community I've ever felt in a class by far. That may not be saying much, but like, it feels like I'm actually making friends instead of people I'll never talk to after the semester, like most classes. It's pretty cool. And then other students started jumping in. You know, this guy says, yeah, you're same. Usually people in the classes I've been in aren't this neat. Now, you can look at this and you get all freaked out because of the punctuation and the spelling and the, whatever, but don't. This is not the space for that. Okay. And I have a background in English, so all that stuff jumps out at me like nobody's business. But in this space, this is a chat space. So save it for the formal papers. All right. They'll figure it out. Anyhow, how exciting is this? This next one from Lauren is, so she actually jumped in, created her own server, and figured out how to put these icons on the channels, which I haven't done yet, but she sent me a video. So I'm going to go look and figure out how to do this, because I love this because it customizes what these different things are. And then she's noticing people jumping in and doing things. Now, here's the key. You have to give them a reason to be there. Like, you can start it up and get everybody in and they're all excited, but then your job is to give them a reason to be there. Now, this could be Discord, this could be a Canvas discussion forum. There's lots of places this could happen, but you have to give them a reason to be there. So she's posting, like, I think she had them do a welcome video. It looks like a meet and greet video that they've got going here. And I love this comment. I'm able to jump on easier and faster and for less time than Canvas. And I think students might feel the same way, because I've had students post just to see how everyone else was doing. I'll admit that's my experience too. Like, I almost have no email these days from students because they just jump on Canvas, ask me a quick question, done. We move on to the next thing. Anyhow, so it's fun to see this happening. On this one, Joseph has been using Discord for quite a while. And again, these three are all Discord things. And I do think Discord's uniquely suited for some of these types of activities, but you could build it in different places and in different ways. You just have to cultivate the space. But he's got students, and he posted some really cool stuff, and I didn't have the space here to like get all the comments. But I believe like this student posted this, and they're posting drawings that they're doing in the art classes. Some of them are doing them for other classes, and they're bringing them in and saying, hey guys, can you give me some feedback? Some of them are just sharing like, wow, this has been a really rough day and this is what I drew. And then I can't remember if it was a meme contest or if they just did this, but this one like cracks me up every time I see it. What I'm trying to draw, what my brain knows, what my brain keeps telling me to draw. That's me right there, that's me. Anyhow, Joseph's even thinking he might use this when they go back to their physical class. And I teach hybrid normally. And so I utilize both spaces, even when I'm on campus. So I find that that's really effective. All right, this next piece, build trust. So you have to value their ideas. And so I'm going to show you some examples of that got shared. So in this one, this was really interesting because Julie did this guided imagery exercise, like an icebreaker almost, before a descriptive writing assignment. And she said, think back to a time, told the students this, think back to a time like a good memory. And let's talk about all the smells and what you heard, and if you were eating something, what it tastes like, get all of the I don't know, the environment, like all the details you can get, right? Kind of as a warm-up exercise. And then her comment was, I see that it helped me make a connection with the class in a way that I haven't been able to do on my own Zoom classes before this, basically. It really gives you an insight into who your students are and what's important to them. So that's one example of this. This one I thought was fantastic. So John teaches a rhetoric class and in speech classes, and he normally has the students give some feedback, after they're giving their speeches, and now they're giving their speeches in Zoom, of course, and then they move on to the next speaker. But what he noticed is the chat channel kept going. Like the next speaker started, but the students were still making comments about the previous speaker because they were multitasking a little bit. The comments were really positive and encouraging. And like public speaking freaks out most people, right? They're worried, what if somebody asks me a question? What if I look funny? What if I don't say it right? What if I, all the what ifs, right? And so to have your classmates say positive and encouraging things to you, think of what kind of community that builds up. And I think he even said he was going to print out or not print it out, but save the chat transcript and send it out to the students so that they could go back and read over what people spoke over them, which is really wonderful. And I love this, the lesson. Sometimes our students don't need lots of tech. They just need for us to stay out of their way. I've been saying that for my whole career. Build the environment, give them the tools, and get out of their way. And super cool stuff happens. So it was fun to talk to John. We actually had a Zoom call and we were talking about this. So step 3, humanize the class. Do they know that you know who they are? Right? Do they know that you know who they are? So this is something total late night inspiration that I did. I always make this visual roster, and that's fun, but I'm the only one that gets to see it really. And so in Discord, I have what I call a notes channel for every student. And on the notes channel, it's a private channel. So it's just me and the student. And class communication, question about grades, whatever. I can give them feedback, but it's just for us. And what I decided to do, because I do this welcome survey, I decided to take the picture they submitted and just create a quick template, like literally super quick template. I've got 2 classes going right now, and so I would just change, CIS 101, CIS 50, and I threw their picture up there. And I pretty much just on the post that I made on their channel, I said, "Hey guys, I'm just experimenting with this. I thought it would be nice to put a face to a name, because on the channel, I pinned this to the top of the channel." And so for me, they only have to remember one of me, right? I have to remember a whole bunch of them. For me, it's been fantastic, because I just click on the pin if I don't remember what they look like, and suddenly I've got a face to go with whatever the comments I'm making. And a huge response back. Like almost all the students messaged back and said, "Oh, wow, that's like interesting. Nobody's ever done that before." I love this one student. "This is great. I've never been fond of taking pictures of myself, but it is really rewarding to humanize the names on the screen." I found it really interesting. She actually used the word humanize. So I don't know if she must have heard that somewhere. Anyhow, so that's been a lot of fun, and it was super easy. Once I got it set up, maybe 30 seconds per student, maybe a minute per student, to create the picture, because I just had the template. So I just, swapped out the pictures. On these ones, there are a couple of different ways to connect with students. So Laura kind of used the model that I did in my B30 class that she was in, and set up Zoom reflection meetings. But instead of having one huge class, broke it up into, kind of surveyed the students and said, "Okay, what are the best times for all of you guys?" Kind of came up with, 3 or 4 different times, and let people sign up for the time to keep the groups small. I think out of all of the reflections I've done with teachers, that's the one comment that comes back most consistently. "I never thought about doing it that way." You always think like you have 45 people in Zoom, or 30 or 20, whatever it is, but that's way too many. It's worth the time, to me anyhow, to break it up and to have 10 or 15, because then you actually connect. And so Laura found that too. She said she completely enjoyed meeting with the students this way. They seemed to really enjoy it. They had some alternative ways they could do the assignment, but for the ones that participated, they really liked that extra effort. And I found that too. That's been my experience also. Angela did a neat thing where she gave the students an alternative assignment, an opportunity to jump into a review session, and they played a game. They talked about their questions. They played Kahoot. The students really liked it, and she's getting really good feedback on that. So it's just a little way, instead of saying, "Okay, well, here's a practice test on Canvas, go at it." That's kind of boring, right? It's fairly easy to set up. I mean, all of these take a little bit more work, but my assessment is that the payoff at the other end is totally worth it. These two are kind of checking in. And so Silver had her students do a video reflection where I believe they gave feedback to each other on the reflection, basically just what's going well and what's challenging. It doesn't have to be like long and complicated. And it gives you a lot of good information. And she was able to see the students interacting with each other, and that's a big deal. You're connecting students to students. I'm going to guess that some students would say, "Well, this thing was really challenging and I don't understand it." And some other student might have came in and said, "Oh yeah, that's challenging for me too, but this is what I found." Oh my gosh, how valuable is that? And then the one word I've talked about before, this has become one of my favorite reflections, because from the student perspective, when I say, "Just give me one word about where you are right now," so I'm a linguist, right? So in New Orleans, they have what they call the Yat dialect. We're Yat, and that doesn't mean like where you're physically located. It means how are you doing. So I like to call my one word the Yat. Where you at? Give me one word. Where you at today? And it kind of gives you an idea at the beginning, like who's in a crabby mood and who's had a good day, and who, it lets you kind of feel the class. If they were walking in the room, you'd see it, but they're not. And so this is a good checking in thing. And she found that they had Kalisha, she found that they had a really high level of participation and they had a lot of fun with it. So that was exciting to hear. Now, last one, have some fun with it. You gotta have some fun. Don't discount that element of serendipity. If you're in the middle of something and you get an idea, try it. The pictures that I did, that was a total try it thing. I was working on stuff and I thought, wonder what would happen if. I don't know where that idea came from, but I tried it. The one word idea, that came on the first reflection in B30, where part of the class wrote something, part of the class did a video. I had a good chunk of it, like a huge percentage of the class did Zoom. And after the first Zoom session, I thought, or during the first Zoom session, I don't have any way to capture anything. Like there's nothing in writing, there's nothing to capture from this. And so I said, just give me one word about the session and unpack it in one paragraph. And the results I got back were stunning, phenomenal, like amazing. And so then that just became the way I did things. So serendipity goes a long way, and levity goes a long way too. Let's look at that. So Kim is talking about, so she took some of these icebreaker questions that I gave in the Zoom sessions. I shared a link with icebreakers, and she's been using those with her freshman high school students and getting really, really good responses, it sounds like. And what it does is that becomes a launch pad to go off topic. And now she's actually building in 10 to 15 minutes in the beginning of her sessions just for chit chat. How you guys doing? What's going on that's interesting? Show me your puppy, whatever. Because it becomes a social space. It becomes a space where they enjoy being. And if you think about it, like in the classroom, we might do that. Walk into a class, hey guys, how's it going? In Zoom, we usually just like flip it on and go, just start talking. Take that few minutes in the beginning. It'll build those social connections that will build your learning community, that will build the trust, like this all ties in together. And she said, it's been a lot of fun, and I feel like I'm finally getting my students to open up more. So, like I said, the payoffs are in lots of different ways. A couple of other ones, Kathy tried this icebreaker, what was your nickname as a kid? And that led to some really interesting conversations in her class. And I did a scavenger hunt in my first Zoom. I do a meet and greet the first week. And so I set up a 9-question scavenger hunt, put them in teams of 3, and it was a scavenger hunt to find things in Discord and find things in Zoom, or find things in Moodle, I mean, we were in Zoom. And I wanted them to be able to be very comfortable in our spaces, in our class spaces. And so we played a game, and in the process of the game, they found out where all the things were. And it was a ton of fun. What was really fun is because I broke it in, I had multiple sessions, and I had a scavenger hunt channel. And on the channel, they had to post, they had to talk with each other about, the icebreaker question was, on your phone, if you could only keep 3 apps, what would they be? And they had to post the answer for the whole group on the scavenger hunt channel. And so I started getting questions from students after the first one. Did we miss an assignment? What's going on? Like it upped the anticipation. And I said, oh, just wait. When you're in Zoom, we'll do it. You'll see what that means when we're in Zoom. Totally up the anticipation. It was a lot of fun. Now, this was my favorite, one of my favorite. They're all my favorite things. I have so many favorite things. You guys are doing some amazing stuff. Keith here sent me this video, or posted this video, and he's just like trying everything out. This is fantastic. He got out of his comfort zone and used a filter for his accounting class, because I did a little thing about the lawyer cat, and I found out how that was made. So I had a cat face. Anyhow, these are Zoom glasses, and he's just trying it out. And it's super funny. The link to the whole video is on our Discord. So you should go watch that. Why not? Why not try it out? What are they going to do? Every once in a while, now that I've got that other filter, I'll be in the middle of talking to the students and I'll just, flip it on to, like, now I'm Shrek or something. Just have some fun with it. And finally, I like to say this. Just because it's distance learning doesn't mean it has to feel far away. I know sometimes it does, but it doesn't have to. And, if you intentionally create the space and cultivate the experience, some really cool things happen. They really do. But it's in the small things. And so just try it. If it works, hooray. And if it doesn't work, tweak it or try something else. What's the worst that can happen? It's better than nothing happening. So I'm very encouraged. I'm very excited. And this has just been fun talking to you. I love it when people are contacting me in Discord and just chatting about their projects or asking questions. That's a super good way because I have Discord open all the time, almost all the time. I don't have email open all the time, but this is a really good way to get me. Anyhow, stay on task, do the best you can do. Don't stress out if you've got a lot going on and you can't do it all the way. Like, believe, I know that feeling. There's so much more that I want to do. And at some point, you just have to say, this is the best I'm doing today. Okay. And I'm okay with that. So keep me in the loop and let me know how I can be helpful. Have a really good week.